you're within the sound of my voice, you are watching or listening to the Sterling Spin podcast, and I'm excited for you to be with us to experience a new spin on living, loving, and learning. And every week I have a new, intriguing, and interesting guest in the studio. And today we will learn about a woman who has overcome challenges, who has been resilient beyond words. And I am Liz Sterling. I want to thank you for joining us and for being here with us on the Sterling Spin podcast. I'm going to turn my attention to Andrea Vandelo. Thank you so much for being here. Andrea, you have a memoir that you come into the studio with. It is a courageous and deeply personal journey through trauma, healing, and transformation. And the title of your book is called Pressing Stones, The Pressing Stones. And I'm holding it up so that I guess we can see you as a little girl on the cover. I felt that the title was evocative, like it brought, there's something happening here. Could you share with us what those stones represent for you personally, and how they connect to what we understand and what we learn was the pain and then the healing in your story?
The pressing stones is a symbol that comes from the ancient Veda. Sri Aurobindo translated the Veda and gave commentary, and he was probably the first human being who really understood the Veda and the symbolism. So one of the symbols in the Veda was the pressing stones, and they symbolize the difficulties we are given in our life to overcome our ignorance, our unconscious formations, our traumas, whatever we bring in that covers over our true being. The idea is that the pressing stones press our difficulties through the cosmic sieve, and out comes the wine of delight, or the honey.
Wow.
It's all about the honey of delight. And that is actually the essence of life. The essence of life is delight.
Is delight. So the essence of life is delight, yet we get mired and caught up in the struggle, the suffering. It's almost as if we're attracted to that, or we bring it with us in the human experience.
Well, we get imprinted,
Tell
right?
me more about that.
We get you're born, you're an open book. Yeah, you are just a beautiful, loving little blob of being.
How cute.
And then comes your parents with their formations and the culture and the time in the world. You know, I was born in World War II. So, and then my father, even though he was Dutch, he was born and raised in Germany. And he became part of the occupation of the Netherlands. And then I am born in Holland. My father is part of the Nazi occupation of the Netherlands.
So you were a young girl. How
old
were you?
I'm born in 1942, in the middle of the war.
I call it toward the end.
No, not really.
In the middle.
The war was over in 1945.
You were not conscious of your father's work.
I had lovely parents. They both loved me. I was safe for the first 2 years of my life. I had a lovely, safe upbringing. But it was only 2 years. When I was 2, my father discovered that the Dutch were planning a massive uprising against the collaborators. Those were Dutch people who were collaborating with the Germans, and they were traitors. Now, my father actually came in from Germany. He didn't know any better, but he was also Dutch. So he was not only the enemy, he was also a traitor.
Wow, like a double whammy.
Yes.
So your father was a good man. He was studied, he was spiritual, he was principled.
He was a big-hearted, kind human being.
Generous, big-hearted.
Then he gets drawn into war, and that we still have this. You know, the most beautiful young people can be drawn into war, and they become criminals. I mean, if you win the war, you're the hero, but if you lose the war, you are the criminal.
Was he brainwashed?
The entire population was brainwashed by the propaganda of pre-war Nazi Germany, just like half of our country is currently being brainwashed.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. And when you said it, I was like, wow, I wonder if something like that could be happening now.
It is.
So
we are rapidly sliding into a totalitarian regime.
Are you concerned about
Very. However, the old formations do need to break down for the new to be born. And I have a very strong and clear vision of the future of humanity, if we make it, if we survive. So the journey in my vision and in Sri Aurobindo's vision is that we evolve our consciousness. There's lots of evolution, right? We come
It's
out
happening.
of
Evolution's
out of the mud,
Right.
and we become conscious beings somehow. And that event, but we're not the last step of evolution. We would be the top of evolution. The mess we make,
What we are?
and the
No.
confusion we carry.
Lack of kindness and
Yes.
all the antithesis of everything
Right.
that we feel we're evolving to as a humanity who's becoming more aware, more heartful, more compassionate, more considerate. We know that that's happening.
Yes, there's a lot of consciousness and awareness coming into the world. It's not in the news.
Right.
So if you pay attention to the news, you get the bad stuff. If you pay attention to the people around you with whom you resonate, who have also love in their hearts, you will see that there's lots of beautiful development happening in the world, and it's all over the globe.
I recently was listening to something on the internet, and it was almost the same exact message that I'm hearing you say right now. And it's like, yes, this is what's happening. Yes, this is what you're reading, seeing, hearing. And yes, there's something else being birthed simultaneously. Have to have breakdown before we get breakthrough. And speaking of breakdown, in your life experience, you were broken down.
Yeah.
So your dad became a Nazi, and he was on the wrong side of history. But I also understand that he was sentenced to death.
Yes.
Had you had and developed and built a relationship with him in those 2 years before he got taken up by the war?
I knew we loved each other, but I don't have any memory because I was only 2. So I'm 2 years old. It's the end of the war. My mother, with 3 children, I have an older brother and a baby sister. We are gathering with other collaborators together for safety in numbers. The war ends. My father is somewhere else in the country. We don't know where he is. He's doing his thing. We are taken captive by the local farmers and farmhands around this building, and my father is taken prisoner. We don't know that yet. I am with my mother and my little baby sister and my brother in a post-war camp. There's hardly any food. It's cold. There's no medical care. They hate us. Rightfully so.
We don't hear much about this, so you're giving a
Right.
first-hand
And actually in Holland,
account.
nobody knew about this camp because it wasn't known. It was just a spontaneous thing that happened by the people.
The people are like, okay, we're going to take you and put you in a place where we can control you and monitor, and then they felt safer to have you managed.
Well, they hate us because the Dutch population had just lived through the hunger winter. So war is a terrible thing in any country. I was motivated to write my book when this country decided to go to war. In 2003, a dubiously elected president, George W.
Must
Bush,
say that.
and his partners in crime decided to perpetrate shameless lies onto the population and the Congress about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. They didn't exist. And almost the entire Congress voted for the country to go to war. And then I watched Americans waving their flags for the American glorious superiority.
You're taking us back to 2003, so you're saying that was sort of the birth of what we're
That was
living.
when I decided that I had to write my book.
And your book has only come out in 2024, so you're talking almost 20 years.
I wrote for 20 years.
By the way, you are a really good writer.
Thank you.
I couldn't even put it down last night. You write such descriptive language. I can feel it, and it's beautiful, and I can tell it's from your heart.
I want to brag a little bit because English is my 4th language. It's not my 2nd language.
And you use words that I had to go look up.
In Holland, you learn foreign languages really, really well because you travel for an hour and a half. You're out of the country, and you need to speak another language. So. Anyway, that was fun.
Let's go back. So you're you're in a war camp with your mother, your brother, your sister, your dad, unbeknownst to you. He is now imprisoned.
Right.
What happens?
My first memory is the morning after my baby sister died. So she didn't make it. This is a memory that I carried with me for most of my life, and it was in my 50s when I talked with my brother about it. I never asked my mother, because our past was covered in her silence. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't talk about these things. The morning after my baby sister died, we are at roll call. I don't know what it is. I have just turned 3. So I'm standing there. All I see is the brown stockinged legs of the women in front of me and grubby clothes, and then some shouting, angry male voice in front. And I know something is terribly wrong with us. I don't know what, because I wasn't told. I wasn't shown my baby sister's body. I am absolutely terrified because I know something is wrong and it has to do with us. So this comes closer and closer. And when it gets really close to us, I am absolutely terrified. But I have to stand still because all these women are also scared. Everybody's standing still. Nobody's moving. I should have screamed and run to my mother. I'm standing there and it comes closer and this man shouts something and then nothing happens. I'm waiting for for us all to get killed.
That's a really big PTSD moment. That takes a lot of healing. So
yeah.
So you're shuddering inside.
So I'm
I would imagine.
Terrified, and then some woman says something, I don't know what, and it passes. And then my mother and everybody just goes back inside. They go about their business. Nobody ever knew how terrified I had been. I kind of thought, not consciously, but I kind of got that my mother didn't know how I was feeling and that maybe she didn't care.
So that's the part you made up.
How I internalized that. This dark moment went into my unconscious until in my 50s I talked to my brother about it. And he said, oh, I know. It was when Almut died and her number hadn't been removed from the list. And my mother is grief-stricken. She can't speak. So that's what happened then.
47 years, you carry the belief that you're not good enough for your mother to love, or there's something about you, or she doesn't love you.
They don't know. But nobody knows how I feel.
Right. And nobody knows how I feel, and nobody will understand. So that imprinted on you.
Yeah. Then I landed in boarding schools. You know, we came out of the camp, and my brother and I landed in a Catholic boarding school, and they know why we are there because it's my father's court case is in the newspapers. You know, he's one of the 7 people who were sentenced to death.
For war crimes.
Yes, that he committed in those last weeks of the war. He wasn't in his right mind because he believed that the Dutch had already killed his wife and his children. Those were the rumors that were going around. We were simply hated. We were hated, and the Dutch killed many collaborators. And those were the stories that my father heard wherever he was. There were no phones. There was no way for him to connect with us. So he didn't know he was not in his right mind. They took prisoners, and what happens to prisoners in war? They get tortured. That's what happens today. That happens by American soldiers wherever they go to war. We now know it.
When you talk these words, inside me, I end up feeling the sadness and the pain. How does something like that happen? How do we become attuned or sensitive or empathetic? I'm hearing these words, but I'm feeling it. Now, I'm on the air. I'm recording a podcast, so I have to separate that. I have to move it away. But still, it landed.
It lands somewhere inside of you.
It takes a spot. It holds energy. Yeah. So that's really hard. There's a ton of story, but you became a healer.
Yes.
I'll just run very quickly that your dad, from what I understand, ended up going to jail instead of being killed. He went to jail for 10 years. And he was mentally ill.
He had a re-evaluation by a psychiatrist. And that re-evaluation determined that he had not been responsible for his actions.
So he wasn't sentenced to death for 10 years.
He was sentenced to death. Right. Then, after 10 years, he gets a re-evaluation, and they changed the verdict. So he is released after 10 years. He has to stay for a year in a mental hospital, a psychiatric hospital,
Right.
under the care of a psychiatrist, but he's free to come and go and learn how to be again in life. He has been incarcerated for 10 years, and
Right.
he didn't dare cross the street when he came out.
You had an opportunity to develop a relationship with
Oh,
your
yeah,
dad,
yeah.
at one that you deeply, deeply respect and admire, and probably sent you off on the journey that ultimately you went to India with a degree, a university degree in psychology.
Well,
Now,
just a bachelor's.
I'm going to take a quick break, and we are talking about the book "The Pressing Stones" from Andrea Vondello, and she joins me in the studio. This is a book 20 years in the making. And your website, what is that?
thepressingstones.com. And the
Nice and easy.
subtitle of the book is The Healing Journey of a Nazi's Daughter. That's my journey.
You will see her online. And I want to thank you so much for watching, listening to the Sterling Spin podcast. Please subscribe. We really appreciate it. And then also, when you see the little bell, click the bell, and that'll give you notification when our new shows drop every single Sunday. So how great and wonderful that you can join us. You can come into the studio and be surprised by the guest who's sitting in this chair here. I want to thank our sponsors. Every great love story starts with a spark. And sometimes you just need the right person to strike the match. That's where Julie Furman and Cupid's Coach come in. With heart, intuition, and a touch of magic, Julie helps singles turn chance encounters into real-life romance. If your heart's ready, consider this your personal invitation and see where love takes you. Maybe you have a story to share. I would love for you to come into the studio. You can contact me directly at sterlingspin@gmail.com. Again, sterlingspin@gmail.com. And we're going to continue now and speak to Andrea. And you started talking about names and Sri Aurobindo and the Vedas.
Yes.
And take us to India. There also were specific things that happened in your life that included drugs and sex and sadomasochism.
Not mine.
Not yours. Those two people, you had crazy exposure in your growing up years, and then you landed in India.
Yes.
We must talk about who the mother is and what you awakened to, because I can feel you. You are a beautiful soul through and through. You have warmth of heart, and your expression is beautiful, and your presence is divine. And I think you talked about, did you say divine before when you talked about
Probably.
the crack between the stones? So take us back into your world.
So I had a boyfriend at the time. After we got our bachelor's of psychology, we were put on a year waiting list for clinical psychology. And he wanted to go to India. So this is 1971, it's hippie days, right? So he's a hippie, and he wants to go to India. And I'm going, oh my God, really? So I didn't really want to go because I didn't think that I would ever travel the world. You know, we didn't have a home when I was a child. So for me to be at home, that's my safe place. I didn't ever think that I would travel the world. And now I have lived on 3 continents.
There was something else. I mean, I just remember picking up a hint of this in your book, that you were really turning away from your Catholic boarding school upbringing. You were becoming sensitized that there was more to the world than what Catholicism was offering you. So there was a ripeness or a readiness that was developing.
I had a wonderful acid trip, and it was like, oh, thank God I can see beyond this superficial world.
One acid trip opened your eyes.
Yeah. We hitchhiked the hippie trail from Amsterdam to India. My father takes us to the border with Germany. And anyway, that was a magical trip. It's all in the book. And we come to Pondicherry. So when I was still in Amsterdam, I saw a little magazine that had an article about Auroville. That is A-U-R-O, Auroville, after Aurobindo. And it also means the city of dawn, because the Auro is dawn.
Ah,
So the City of Dawn, the idea of it, was established by the mother, who was Sri Aurobindo's spiritual companion.
when you say spiritual companion, I was just curious because they lived in the same house.
She found him. She was from France.
Right.
She found Sri Aurobindo, and they realized they were both very advanced human beings. They realized they were both they carried the same vision for humanity to evolve into the next step of evolution of consciousness. That's where we are now. The next thing that needs to evolve is our consciousness, our minds. And to begin to manifest divine consciousness in humanity on the planet.
Is it going to be like one at a time or
One at a time is the only way it works.
I knew you were going to say
It's
that.
always one at a time, you know.
Right.
And it's not a religion, it is a practice. It's a practice to offer yourself. I'm a little bit ahead of myself here. So I come into Pondicherry. So I read a little magazine about Oroville. And for the first time, I have a glimmer of hope about life. If you're born in wartime, and then there's the atomic bomb, I didn't want to have children. It's like I cannot put children on this planet. This is not good. This is not good over here. So I'm reading this little article, and it gives me hope. And then there's one quote of Sri Aurobindo in the article, 4 words: all life is yoga. It rang like bells to my universe. I didn't know what it meant. I had no idea, but it was all inclusive.
That meant you now belonged to
Well,
something.
at
If all
least the
life is
idea.
yoga,
Yeah.
you could feel like the hope that, oh, well, I'm in all life.
I
Yoga
didn't
means
understand it
union,
yet,
right.
but I was interested. When we decided to travel, I said, we're going to Oroville. That's the one place we decided to go to. My mother said, I don't think you're coming back. I
From a
said,
little magazine article,
Yeah.
a prelude to
Yeah.
you being on the hippie road, to getting to Oroville, to meeting the Divine Mother and
So
Sri
then I come to
Aurobindo.
Pondicherry, and I find out that it's Mother's birthday in a few days, and she will come in on the balcony for a public darshan. Darshan is when you or the people can see the teacher, the guru. And so she came for a public darshan. And then I made a friend with an American. And he said, because you guys are going to leave pretty soon, you can write Mother a letter and ask if you can see her in person. And she said, yeah. On the 27th of February, 1972, we got to see Mother in person. So I got to be in front of her by myself. When we left the guest house, we're all nicely dressed up. It's Sunday morning. We're going to see Mother. And the manager comes out and he says, good morning. Where are you going? And I said, we're going to see Mother. He said, wait. And he runs over to the wall and picks us each a gigantic orange hibiscus with this crimson stamen. It was splendid. So we each have this beautiful flower, and we go to the ashram, up the stairs, slowly. It's noon by the time we come to Mother's room. Now, it's hot in South India at the end of February already, and my hibiscus is sadly wilting.
Yeah, it curls up on itself. Yeah.
It's wilting. Hibiscus don't really like to be picked, especially not when it's hot. So we come into her room, and there she is. She's ancient. She's 94, but she's also an ancient being. She's sitting in her chair, and I come in front of her, and I kneel down, and I bring my flower forward, and my flower opens in front of her. The hibiscus opens in full bloom, and I'm like mesmerized, like, what is happening, Feels like I'm on acid, but I'm not. So then there's a movement, okay, pass the flower to her attendant, and now I'm looking into her eyes. She was so absolutely still that it felt like she was on the other side of the galaxy. Nothing happening. And I keep looking. I know something's got to happen. And then I hear my own voice in my mind saying, open up. We'll see if I can speak this without weeping, because I'm always, this is such an amazing experience. Open up, and we look at each other, and it's like, oh, it's you. we recognize each other. I recognize her. She recognizes me. We are the same. We are ecstatic. It's like, oh my God, it's you. We keep just, we are ecstatic, both of us. We are two, but we are the same in that
Wow.
moment.
It feels like undulations,
It
like
was
of beingness.
It
Yeah,
was
how do you even
extraordinary.
define
I
it?
didn't even know that such a thing was possible.
I can't add or even say anything about it. It's like anything would be less than. It was everything.
Yeah. So then, it's like, okay, you got to move along because there are hundreds of people in line. She's following my eyes, I'm following hers.
Wow.
And then I come, she turns to the next person and I walk out of the room and tears start to stream down my face. I wept for 3 days.
What a blessing. What would you call that?
Bittersweet tears.
Yeah.
And the sweetness the joy, of course, was about not only recognizing her, but recognizing myself. In that moment, all my veils were torn. I knew my soul. So those are joyful tears. And then the bittersweetness is that it has taken so many lifetimes of looking for God, so many lifetimes of searching for that.
I get a sense that you know a lot. And when I hugged you, because we're coming to the end, I just don't believe that over a half an hour has gone by. It's honestly, time stood still in this room. And then you talk about the stillness. And I can tell that you have seen truth and that you carry that with you. And it's beautiful. It's a great gift. It's helped you do tremendously deep healing.
This is the thing that I want people to understand. Pursue what is true for you in your innermost being. Become still. Listen to your center. We all have a heart. We all have what we call the psychic being, which is the part of our soul that evolves over lifetimes. You tune into that and teach yourself, learn to live from there, not from whatever ideas or whatever teachings. Listen to deep inside of yourself and follow that. You have a guide inside of you. The supreme teacher is the inner guide. Mother and Sri Aurobindo did not want followers. Mm-hmm. They wanted each of us to find the truth within ourselves and follow that.
And the truth will set you free.
And the truth will set you free.
And today you've definitely set us on a beautiful trajectory for cultivating that inner wisdom and having hope as well for a world that desperately needs more conscious people. I want to thank you so much. Pressing Stones, The Pressing Stones, Andrea van der Loo, The Healing Journey of a Nazi's Daughter, a really good book. So
thank you.
You came into my dreams last night. I'm like, oh, this is going to be really good. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And thank everyone for listening.
Thank you. Our team who's here to support us. Thank you so much. Great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you. Namaste.
Mm-hmm.
Until the next time you're within the sounds of my voice, this is Liz Sterling, wishing you well, letting you know that you are blessed, truly. I thank you for being with us in the studio. Until next time, keep spinning toward tomorrow, today.